Our sports fans, Top Gun coming back at you. We have the honor of welcoming today Nasir Islam, and he is a legend, okay, in cricket. Not only just cricket. I mean, we're talking about an American national team player here from 1997 to 2007, and Pakistani native, but no stranger to cricket in America. Has played across the world, and now he's being dubbed the ambassador of DMV cricket and all things cricket. Nasir Dubai, welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you for the introduction.
Well, I know you got a busy schedule, so I just want to get it all in because I know the fans are eager to hear from you. And I know you're even though you have partially thrown in the towel, you still play from time to time. So tell the fans how excited you are to be this active involved in cricket to this point.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a new opportunity for me to be a part of a DMV Cup. So I'm really excited and bring whatever knowledge that I have to the committee and the members and go from there and see where it goes.
I know you're still playing in that. You played in some recent leagues, what have you, and I mean it's. I know you as a pace bowler, but record has it that you're medium pace, whatever it is. So what do you have you gravitated towards a slower form of bowling, or are you still putting some heat on that ball?
I'm mostly more, I guess, more like spinner now. So
Less
yeah, I
energy.
used to bowl fast. It's just the age now. So yeah, still bowl spin.
So I know your travels will take you across the globe, not only this week, but later this year, what have you. How much influence have you seen in the DMV area as it pertains to just development of cricket from a grassroots level?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up.
Yeah, I'm asking, how much, what have you seen in terms of a development in grassroots cricket in the DMV area based on not only your influence, but in the many leagues that you've played?
Well, grassroots is coming up now because there are so many people who are going to indoors and their new facilities are coming up, and lots of kids are there eager to learn the game. When I was playing, there were not much grassroots at the time. So hopefully, I mean, I've seen some kids in the indoor facility from Potomac or Royal Cricket Club in DC area, and hopefully they'll get to where they want to be in professionally if they're thinking to pursue their pursue the profession if they want to play cricket. So let's see how far it's going to go.
So if you look back at all the professionals that have come up in the ranks over the years, let's say the last 5 decades that you can attest to, but let's go back 7 decades, what have you. If those players had the opportunity that these kids had today, would we see a much higher level of cricket that they have been born into?
Well, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, we still need a lot of work right now because we don't have the professional grounds per se in some of the states. So to play on turf cricket and playing on AstroTurf is two different ball games. So I don't see anybody who's going to be going to play on turf is coming playing from AstroTurf to turf. It's a big adjustment.
Different.
So it's a different pace on the wicket, different ball. The whole 9 yards. Cricket in DC or most of the area, especially in DC area, you play up in the air a lot. So uh, that's how you score runs because of the ground. So it's going to be a very tough thing to say that it's going to grow. From until we have a proper ground.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, right? So cricket has really taken off, I would say, the last decade, especially in the United States, right? To the point where we could actually field a team to enter in the T20 World Cup, which I would say we did surprisingly, remarkably well.
Mm-hmm.
So, what, in your opinion, what do you think has to happen in order to get USA cricket on the same level like India or let's say South Africa, or even though it would be Pakistan, but I mean, that was a one-off. But to play at that level consistently, what has to happen in USA cricket?
Well, you look at it, right? Australia, if you're comparing U.S. team to Australia to be at that level, you need to have paid players professionally. Um, they need to have good contracts. This is U.S. Everybody has to pay their bills. So, and proper ground, proper coaching. They need to play a lot more cricket than what they are doing right now to compete at that level.
So, do you think that cricket should be privatized then, in order to be able to have the kind of funding necessary, more like an NFL team where they're privately funded? Do you think that's a
I
format that we got to
definitely
take?
think so because you got to run the association as a business, right? So I definitely agree with privatization instead of just to rely on ICC. I know ICC do provide some funds, but I'm not sure what the number is per year for associates. But yeah, definitely, I would 100% agree to go privatize.
Yeah, I do agree with you for the mere fact that if somebody is playing professionally in the States, they need to just be a professional cricketer and not working a job and then playing cricket whenever they can. It just needs to be their full-time thing, which takes money, which takes the right sponsorship, takes the right funding, and it just takes the right leadership, people that can see the forest beyond the trees. Because there's no mistake why the Indias of the world and the South Africa and New Zealand, what have you, other prominent cricket outfits have actually lasted the test of time. South Africa, just to name a few, even the West Indies. It's because it's equivalent to the American pastime being baseball, but it's just another level of commitment because that's all they do.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to have a bench strength within the U.S. team, and I don't see that right now. So,
Well, one
um,
of the things that I have a passion for basically is seeing cricket being pushed to the point where kids can actually get a scholarship to an NCAA Division I school or D2 school for crickets, and then that being a platform to get into the majors, what have you. What are your thoughts leading up to the fact that cricket's going to be in the next Olympics?
it all depends what format we're playing at. If it's only T10, yeah, it's going to be very fast paced, very competitive. Um, but I don't see if it's going to last that long. But in Olympics right now, if you're jumping into 2027 Olympics, yeah, they need a lot of work.
So what format you think would be? You think more of a T20 format would be like the middle ground?
Yes, I think T20 would be a middle ground in there, but T10, I don't see it's going to get that popular uh, amongst in Olympics. Most of the people come out and play, and they get out from the houses or whatnot just to come and watch a good game. They're not going to sit there for half an hour and the T10 45 minutes just to and the game is finished, right? Just to see a T10 game. T20, yeah, I can spend 3 hours there at the ground just like a baseball, um, and enjoy the game as well.
I do believe from a marketability standpoint, a T20 format would be best. Test cricket would be out of the question. That would be just too lengthy. But I think T20 runs the same time span of a football or a baseball game. And I think with the renewed hype, especially coming off a T20 World Cup, which I don't know if I'd consider that a total success, but I'm just glad that we actually got a chance to host that event in parts.
Mhm.
But I just hope all that just adds up to just being a launching pad to what's next for cricket here. But yeah, we do need better grounds. We need better facilities, and hopefully get to a point where we can have a facility that's covered. It's I'm
Yeah.
your witness to string up to a couple of games that never happened, and you spend hours there, and because of a little change in the weather, there's no game's off. So I
Right.
think in order for the sport to really get to the next level here, an infrastructure, a good, at least one major infrastructure that would facilitate a major events that, regardless of weather, that the event still happens. I think that's critical.
Right.
So all right, so the so my guys here at DMV, they have actually implemented some rule changes, in particular a Super Bowl. And we spoke briefly about that ahead of the call itself, but the whole idea basically is that the skipper can request a Super Bowl either in the first couple overs or the last couple overs. And the idea is that any runs that gets hit off this particular ball, the runs double. In the event of there being an out, then the team that's batting loses 5 runs. The whole idea basically is to create more excitement around a shorter format of cricket. As a veteran, how does that sit with you?
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. How many chances do you have to use the Super Bowl? Just once or twice?
You get to use it twice at 2 parts of the game itself.
Okay. Yeah, that should be interesting. I think that's a little different and exciting. Just to see how other team captains are they going to use, and how they're going to play their game on the field.
Well, I think I'm very curious to see this in play, because it's going to change the strategy as to how we actually field a team and actually play a team as it is, because we've seen a lot of T10 games come down to the last ball, and I think this could make a big difference earlier on. So I guess it's really, it's going to be a fan favorite. I predict that.
Yeah, Super Bowl will be your X factor, right? So
exactly. Let's talk more about you, right? So you have an extensive resume. You've played some very high level cricket. You've toured the world. Is there a single event that you can actually isolate and say, you know what, this was my most memorable moments in cricket? What would you say if you had to pick one?
I played in Argentina. That was a memorable moment because we did win the cup. I guess the second one was Six Nation tournament in Canada that I can remember, where I was the MVP for the whole tournament. So it was amazing to play over there.
Let me ask you, because towards the tail end of your career, you did a tour of India, right? What was that like for you?
It was very disappointing for me. Actually, I was part of the squad to play ICC World Cup in England in 2004. So I got injured on the side game against Zimbabwe, and we did beat Zimbabwe in the side game over there, and that was the big hype. And after that, I tore my muscle, and I couldn't play for the whole tournament against Australia and New Zealand. So, but that was very hurtful for me that I couldn't represent at that time. So yeah, I still regret that.
Well, I tell you what, man, everything happens for a reason, and nothing before its time. Timing is everything. I do believe, though, that your best years are ahead. I think there is a lot of room for impact, and I think someone of your caliber could really bring that to especially USA crickets, because it is a lot of work to be done yet. But I do believe, based on how, and we only have one thing to go by, which was the last T20 World Cup, that even taking that team, that there is promise and there's hope. We have one of our guys, Jesse Singh. He hadn't played for many years, and Jesse gives 100% every time. And I'm just thinking, if that team was in the hands of like certain veterans, what would be different? What would you have improved? Just looking at the performance of the USA team in
technically, they need to be a little more sound. Mentally, they need to be a little more stronger, right? So, of course, fitness is number one. So, yeah, and proper coaching. They need to play more on turf to compete against these international teams. Like Pakistan, South Africa, India. They need to tour more. Again, it all comes down to the funds itself. How they go by, and if it all comes down to what contracts they have. So that's all I could look at right now. And of course, proper facilities, right? So, basic number one thing is that you need a proper ground to play. So, that's how you're going to improve. Otherwise, you'll just keep, hitting the ball in the air. And that's what your body get used to, just to play a shot in the air. So, and it's a very, very tough change. Once it comes down to turf, you really have to control your body and your mindset needs to be really strong, that and tell your body is like, hey, let's not play the shot. So it's a long road, I see. And some of the people are in cold weather, like New York, DC area, Chicago, and their season has ended. So you got a break of 6 months, and what do you do in 6 months? It's
I guess the whole idea, I mean, because you could tell the disparity in cohesion with the teams, because you see India play. I mean, these guys, they think alike. They finish each other's sentences. They spend a lot of time together.
right.
And in order for us to be on that level, it would require, for example, the team moving to warmer climate and touring a lot, like you said, and just being able to have the right facilities with which to practice and master their play. But we're hopeful that this too will pass, and we'll have a lot of improvements going forward as there are more eyes on the sport. I know there are a lot of corporations looking at cricket very differently, especially from a marketing perspective. And I'm happy to see that I've had a hand in that. And I look forward to actually being a key part of developing the sport to become mainstream. I hope we can lean on you for your expertise, for your advice, and for your input down the road. And I'm just happy that you're aligned with us, and we just want to dub you all things DMV ambassador.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I don't have a crown for you, but I can offer you another shelf, because you're out of shelf space for trophies back there, right?
Oh yeah, I still got a little more left.
So, any closing remarks to the fans coming out to DMV T10 World Cup Season 2 this the 17th and 18th, which is this Thursday and Friday here in the DMV area?
Yeah, just come out and enjoy. Bring your friends, family together. It should be exciting tournament, and enjoy. Bring some barbecue and feed your family and friends as well. So, yeah, definitely. I won't be here because I'll be in Dubai playing Masters. Apparently, I'm going to miss this tournament. Otherwise, I would be showing up at the ground and and guiding some of the teams or giving some tips. But yeah, definitely, I want all the fans to come out here and enjoy the day in the cricket.
Well, fortunately for you, we're live streaming, so at least in part you'll be there, right?
Yes, hopefully I'll get a chance to look at a couple of recordings. But again, like I said, I'm playing on Saturday in Dubai. Over 50 tournaments for the zonals. They have a plan to, I guess there's a World Cup coming up in February in Sri Lanka. So that's what we are preparing for, and that's what our goal is, to go and win the World Cup over there.
Well, I wish you the very best. I wish you an injury-free trip. And
yeah, thanks.
I look forward to seeing you in that World Cup stage, being a young master, barely past 50. So, with that being said, listen, so sports fans, that's Naseem Islam, the ambassador to DMV cricket and all things cricket DMV. All right. So, with that being said, you have a safe trip, and this is Top Gun signing off. Salute.
Thank you. Bye-bye.